Hello, 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 everyone. I'm going to wait for some to join, and then we're going to dive into our Trauma to Triumph Tuesdays featuring Dr. Cass tonight, you all. Hi, Nakia. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Listen, you all know how special this is to me. You all know it's near and dear to my heart. Hello, 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 Chris. Hi. Oh, that's all about Chris. That is my elementary school, middle school, forever friend. Hey, girl. I see Dr. Cass on here as well, you all. So I'm gonna have her join, and then I'll go right into the introduction, and I'll talk to you all about what Trauma to Triumph Tuesdays is all about and the bigger mission for this entire project. So let me get Dr. Cass on. She's waiting right now. Hey, I think I accepted your request, so let me just make sure I did it right. Hey, niece.
Hey,
Hi, my love.
I am so
Hello,
sorry. You know,
beautiful.
you can tell I love you. Hey, you can tell I
Yes, I
love
know
you
you do.
because I am literally just coming off of set and I ran outside
That's
and was like, I
okay.
gotta do this live. What's that? I gotta do it.
That's okay.
But
I know
yeah,
you
hi
love me, and I know time. Everybody is doing well. We're waiting for you. Do you want to go to sit down somewhere while I'm going to
I am
introduce myself and talk about Trauma to Triumph Tuesday. So really quickly, everyone who's watching, if you're new to Trauma to Triumph Tuesdays, I go live every Tuesday with an amazing woman who we sit down and we talk about how she turned her trauma into triumph. Everybody's trauma is different. Everybody reaches a point of triumph at a different point, and what it means to everyone is different. And so we have gone through 6 to 7 of these episodes already. I don't know if I may have failed to say my name. My name is Terry Long. For those of you all who don't know who I am, if you're new to Trauma to Triumph Tuesdays, you may catch me sometimes on Thursdays and you may remember my face. I'm Terry T-Bomb Long from Spotlight Over the City. But on Tuesdays, I wear a different hat. I am very, very serious about the mission of this project, because I believe that sharing stories of what we've gone through as women of all ethnicities, of all backgrounds, of all different experiences, I believe that we share our stories to help heal each other and to also help heal those that are not as brave to talk about what they've been through. We've talked to women already who have had some serious trauma with their medical situations. We've had women who've been sexually molested as children. We've had women who have dealt with domestic violence. And today's guest is Dr. Cassandra Vaughn. I'm going to let her talk because
she called me by my government.
I call her Dr. Cass. So, I mean, I actually call her cousin Cass nowadays.
Yes,
But
yes.
listen, I'm gonna turn things over to you, and I want you to introduce yourself the proper way, the way everyone calls you out there in the media and entertainment industry, and then we will get right into who you are, and then we will take it back a little bit. We'll take it
Okay.
back a lot of bit, and we'll talk about the trauma that you experienced, and we want to share about that and be candid, and then to help other women understand what it was for you that got you to the other side.
Awesome. First of all, let me first thank you. Thank you. For one, inviting me to be a part of this platform. Two, for providing this platform. Because when I went through what I went through, there was nothing like this,
Mhm.
right? So I had to be able to be who I was. And at the same time, I had no one to talk to. Okay.
Mhm.
So with that said, I want to thank you for that. That means so much. And
Yeah.
then I also want to say a happy belated birthday, even though I gave all of my birthday love to my
Oh,
baby.
yes, you did.
Gave all our love to my birthday baby.
Thank you.
But I go by the name. Oh my God, I sound like Jay, didn't I just now? I go by the
Yeah.
name of, but I go by the name of Dr. Cass. I do have a real PhD. I did not buy it. I earned it, and I
Yes,
have a
girl.
PhD in strategic and brand management. I've been in the television, radio industry for almost 30 years now. I cannot believe it, but I have.
Yeah.
And along with that, I've been a producer, a television producer. I've been a radio producer. Any for those out there who's watched a little thing called HBO The Wire, I produced 2 seasons of it. And what I will say, even because I know we're gonna go back to it, but before I talk about that, I also have produced and worked on BET Awards, Soul Train Awards, things of that nature. So what I will say to you is, just because the picture looks so pretty, you have to understand the struggle that it took to paint it. And because
Mm.
I know we're going to go back, I'll
Mhm.
explain that statement. I'm not sure. Hey, 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 Stan. I'm not sure, but I think that I did see someone tune in. Kaye's mom, or Kaye Loves Me, which is a very good friend, like a sister to me, Darlene. And if she is on and she could just put a heart there so I could see, I want to incorporate something that she said into um I
Thank
want to
you.
incorporate something in what she said to me so that you guys can understand how easy it is to help somebody and not know. Yeah, she's still on here. So when we get into it, I'm gonna incorporate something that she said to me about 15 years ago, actually. Now that most people would, she doesn't even know she said it, but it helped me through one of my toughest times. So
Mm.
Terry, I'll give it to you.
What is it?
I'll wait till you ask me about my trauma.
Oh, okay. Well, you all have heard just now how amazing this woman is and the amazing things that she's done for the past several years of her life. She is a real big deal. She's humble, but she's a big deal out there. She really is. And so, Cass, let's go back. And I don't know how far you want to go back, but as far as you want to go back, to build the story about the trauma that you suffered
Okay.
through.
So I'm gonna go back to the beginning of it, right?
Okay.
Um, and it's simple. I was raised. My dad is my parents are amazing human beings. Okay, love them to death. They've been married this year 65 years, right? Great
Wow.
childhood. Everything in life I could ever want or need, I had. Traveled the world whenever I wanted or needed to. Um, but my dad's also a Baptist pastor. So I found myself wanting the opposite of what was in the church, right?
Mhm.
I didn't like, even in my career, I dropped my last name and would just go as Cassandra or Dr. Cassandra or something like that, or Dr. Cass, right?
And you did that
Because
so that you could break the association with your pastor dad.
uh-huh, and that's
Okay.
because my dad is a nationally known pastor, um uh civil rights advocate and leader, marched with Dr. King, had some of the most prominent people in the world in our house growing up. And I just wanted my own identity, and he allowed us to have our own identity. And I
Hmm.
wanted one. So got in the media industry, was in college, felt like I was grown, and I fell in love.
Yeah.
Baby, I fell in
You fell
love.
in love.
Well, what I did not know is that I fell in love with somebody who never experienced the same love that I did growing up, who never
Mhm.
experienced parents that loved them, who never understood how to love or how to be loved. And instead of where everybody from our family, we come from a certain third breed, like, college educated, not saying that you have to be, but that's just where we came from,
Right, right.
um and education was important, understanding history, understanding where you come from, all of that was important. And so, but this person didn't come from there, and I
Hmm.
didn't get it. I just loved them.
You just,
And
right.
quite frankly, if we can have grown folks talk, I love the sex.
Yeah.
So, so I
It was the
loved
D.
it. Yeah, I love the D.
Yeah.
And so, I found myself pregnant,
Hmm.
and at the time, still in love, right?
Okay.
And was pregnant with my first child. Found out I was pregnant with my first child 3 weeks before I graduated with my bachelor's. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and at that time I was working for NBC and going to school and putting myself through school at the same time, living on my own. And I found myself pregnant, had the baby, then pregnant, get married, have another baby. Well, after the second child, I noticed that my husband, my ex-husband, would start talking, like downgrading me and telling me how, oh, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I know I'm not ugly, you know?
Right.
And it would always happen when I would have to go and do something. Like if I had to fly out to BT, or if I had to fly out to Soul Train. And so I will never forget my my second daughter was born, and I had to go out to do the Trumpet Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working production for the actual show. And I was the person who booked the celebrity and was the assistant, you know. So I made sure that they
Okay.
were where they were supposed to be, everything. I
Right.
didn't for the Trumpet Awards, I never did the content of it. I just basically babysit celebrities. So my ex-husband was turning 25 that year.
Mm-hmm.
I flew him and 25 of his friends out to Vegas for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We went into, well, you know, I let them do what they had to do because I had to work. They came to the award show, set nice table. This dude became jealous because I had interaction with certain celebrities who they weren't interested in me at all or anything that I had on my body. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he became so enraged that when everything was over, he left the awards. We got to the room and I went to take a shower, and he questioned why I was taking a shower. Well, I worked all day, you know.
Hmm.
Terry, that guy beat me black and blue. Black and blue. And
Whoa.
um
So you were at the hotel room, Cass?
in the Bellagio, beat me black and blue. So much so that I did not fly back with them. Beat me black and blue. And I could not share that with anybody because, one, my dad's this prominent pastor. I have this great job. I'm around nothing but celebrities. So I sat in that hotel room for 3 days crying and trying to get myself together. And my two kids, my two girls, were back in Baltimore. So my whole thought process was, I got to get to my kids. I don't want my parents to give them. I can't talk to my parents. I have nobody to talk to because my dad's this big prominent pastor. You know, my parents are really prominent in the city. I have this great job. You know, I'm part of the first family in the church. And who can I talk to? You know, I can't talk to anybody about that. I can't tell nobody I'm getting my ass whooped on the regular. So
Ugh.
got myself together, came back. That continued for about 5 years. Me being
No.
beat, me being beat, and nobody ever knew. And so I mentioned CaSay's mom, who's a very this person. Our parents grew up together in church. She goes to my dad's church. We grew up together in church, and she used to always, when she didn't sing in the choir, she would come and sit behind me and say, "Hello, friend, I love you." You know? And I'll never forget, I was pregnant with my son, now 7 years later, and I was contemplating. I was contemplating whether or not to get a divorce and have my son, um, without a father, and me just, live the life and raise him and raise my other kids, or if I was going to stay. I chose to stay, right? I chose to stay because, again, I was living for everybody else. I wasn't living for myself. So just think about this, Terry. I really think about this. One moment you see me producing BET Awards, or you see you watching the show, and Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar come out, and you like, that's my girl Cass produced that, right?
Right.
And you see this smile on my face, I'm happy. But I would fly back home to get my ass whooped.
So, Cass, there are going to be lots of people to ask the question, why? Like, what was it that you feel, articulate in your own words, to help other women who are being in that situation right now? What is it that makes you stay when you're getting your ass beat all the time? What is it?
Everybody has
Not
their
the
own
D, right?
vice.
Is it still
No,
the
it
D?
wasn't. No, it was not. Everybody has their own vice, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was my dad. I didn't want to be an embarrassment to my family. I didn't want to embarrass my family name. I didn't want anybody to think that this tough girl from Baltimore, because as Darlene will tell you, oh, I fight you now. But I
Did you
didn't
fight
fight my
him?
husband. And you know what? Not until I I popped. The balloon popped. And what happened when the balloon popped was, I found out that all of his anger came from the fact that he really was cheating on me.
Mm.
And the dumb girl decided to call me at work. Well, baby, I had it. Do you hear me? I had it. My
Mm.
son was 1.5. I had it. Terry, I drove 25 minutes to my house, busted in my house, went in the kitchen and got a frying pan, went upstairs, kicked in my door, and proceeded to give him everything that he gave me. And we went toe for toe, to the point my parents at that time lived 2 doors down the street from me. And before I got to the house, I called them and said, I need y'all to pick up the kids from school, because I had it. Like, you mean to tell me you cheating on me and you beating my butt? Nah, son, we ain't doing that. That's not what we doing. That's not what we doing. You accusing me of this, and this what you doing? Oh, I got something for you. And I gave him every single thing that he had ever given me. Everything. And it was that day that I told him I didn't care what he did or how he did it. Get out my house. And I proceeded to throw stuff out my bedroom window.
So you mean to tell me, okay, so this is about 5 to 7 years already in, or is my time at
Oh,
home?
no, honey. This was now 9 years in.
Wow. Nine
This was
years in.
9 years in. And what I realized and the lessons I learned, and this is why I said, no matter what picture you look at, it may be real pretty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know the struggle it took to get that picture to look the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people all the time, you see me smile, laugh, joke, and play, and I'm a pretty decent person, you know,
Very.
and I'm always gonna joke and everything, and people see my relationship now with who I say is the love of my life, right? But it took a lot for me to get there, because you know um what I did know is, hurt people hurt people. So I didn't want to be a person to hurt anybody else. So before I even thought about another relationship, Cassandra got Cassandra together. Cassandra went to therapy quietly. Cassandra went and, changed a lot of things in my life, because I blamed myself. And
Wow.
it wasn't until I found out it wasn't me. This man ain't never know how to love. You wanted to give somebody, that's like me telling you, Terry, I want you to drive this stick down the street. Well, if you don't know how to drive a stick down the street, then you can't absolutely do that. Oh,
Nope.
oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Terry. You can't do that. You can't drive a stick if you don't know how to, right?
No.
And so, with that said, that was my issue. You know, that really, really was my issue.
Wow. So, okay, so tell me a little bit about throughout the 9 years when he wasn't beating you. What was your relationship like? I mean, did you all were in love?
I
You know
thought
what
we
I mean?
were. I thought we were.
Did you do loving things together? Like, you know what I mean? Like, was the sex still hot? Like, was it off and on, off and on? Like, how does this work when
It
someone's
became off
beating
and
you
on.
black and blue?
It became off and on, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna step out because I'm just a little hot in the car.
Okay. Okay, no
um,
problem.
but it became off and on until it wasn't any longer. You
Mm-hmm.
know, until it just wasn't any longer, and so I had to I had to realize that I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do for myself. And there were signs there. There were people who would tell me, pay attention to this or pay attention to that. And I didn't. But when you grow up in the church and you have a father who my father was, you stayed.
Yeah,
You stayed in your relationship,
you say.
and you stayed in your relationship for reasons that you should.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Um, was he a good dad?
I'm sorry, Terry. I love you too. Okay. All right, David. Thank you, David. Absolutely not. When he divorced me, he divorced them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and honestly, until my oldest got married 2 years ago, he wasn't in their life at all. He wasn't in her life at all. My son is 16. He's not in his life at all. Actually, Jay is my kids. Well, my daughter and son consider Jay, as the person.
Is the
'Cause
per
that's who was always there for him.
Wow. And when you say Jay, that's your fiance. Now, for those of you who
Yes.
aren't on the live, I mean, who don't know Dr. Cass, he put a ring on it. They are engaged. The franchise team is on and popping, y'all. So about the process, when you said I was done,
Hmm.
how did you know? What does that feel like? So for I know it's different for every woman, the timing, but help us understand what hit you and what gave you the strength to move on and transition from that abusive situation to a better life for yourself and your children.
I'm gonna be honest. You come to a point in your life where you said, "This is it. I can't do it any longer." And I'm gonna tell you, for everybody out there, please, if you have friends that's going through domestic violence, if you have friends that are going through anything, understand this. This is the one thing that I try to tell everybody. The one thing that you need to know is this: don't judge their situation. Don't judge if they don't leave. Don't call them stupid because they didn't leave. Don't don't um don't overthink it, because you don't know why that person's staying. You know,
Yeah.
listen, I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a real story. And Terry, I'm sharing. I can't even believe that I'm sharing this, because I'm gonna try to get through this the best I can, because only 4 people know this story. The person who did it to me, my ex-husband, my fiance, and my dad and myself. One Sunday, we left church. My dad had dinner at the house. My dad asked us to go pick up something. We went to go pick up, it was some dessert. Went to go pick it up. My ex-husband went into a fit of rage. He drove me down this back road. He pulled out a 9mm gun, and he put it in my mouth and told me that my parents nor my kids would ever see me again if I tried to leave them. So what you think I'm gonna do?
I have no idea. Someone puts a gun in your mouth and say what they
And
said to you, and
like, and he told me, if you try to leave me, I'm going to find you and I will shoot you, and I will make sure that your parents never see our kids. He told me that. Can you imagine somebody telling you that?
no, I
At the time, I
cannot.
had a 3 and a 4-year-old.
I can't. I can't.
Like, can you imagine somebody telling you that?
No.
And when you looked at him, oh, he would come dressed up and he would come this. And I have to say, part of my trauma has part of the trauma even that I'm dealing with as of today is that you did nothing for our kids and then you want to be in their life. Well, in one, you have a whole son. There's a whole African American child out there, 16 years old, who deserves to be loved, who has not been loved by a man that is his father, has only been loved by a man who has accepted me into his life because that's the man that Jay is, and you don't even care. You don't care. There are black men, boys getting killed every day, every week, have no guidance. And my son's father is his soon to be stepfather. Can you imagine that?
I
If
can't.
if my if my
I
dad had not stepped in, my son would have nobody.
But
You know?
God knew what you needed to supplement what you were
Yeah.
losing on that other side. And so the process that you, like you said, you got fed up, you were sick of it. And so you weren't afraid to leave.
Girl, let me tell you something. After we had that fight in that house and I whooped his ass, and because I'm sorry, ooh, I said ass. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus.
No,
And
it's fine. That's fine.
after I beat that tail with that after I beat that tail the way I did, he then became scared of me. And real talk, for me, it was almost like I took my power back. I took my power back. And it wasn't until I realized that I was worthy to take my power back that I didn't understand how worthy I am. You know,
Hmm.
it took a lot. Like, people don't know how much therapy I've gone through to figure out who I was
Right.
and what kind of loved. I always lived in the shadows of my parents. I always lived in the shadows of, if I was in school, everybody knew my brother and my sister. God rest my brother's soul. If I was doing something locally in my hometown, everybody knew that, oh, that's Vaughn's daughter. If I even when I would leave, people knew who my dad was. So I always had to live in the shadow, and I never understood my worth. And
Hmm.
so it wasn't until I understood my worth that I could understand my worth, you know?
Right. Right. Well, that's very, very important for you to share that part, that process, and to share what you just said, because I believe that there's so many other women, Cass, that there's so many other women. Domestic violence is huge. It's a huge thing.
And let's be
And
honest, it goes both ways. It goes both
yeah,
ways. It goes
no,
both ways.
it does. It goes both ways. And so when you finally left and you pulled yourself out of that situation, was there ever a time where he continued to do anything harmful to you? Or was that when you broke away, you were able to break away and you were able to put that part of your life behind you?
When I broke away, I broke away. When I broke
Okay.
away, I left my house. He left me with $5.74. From $54,000 in my bank account to $5.74. Do you hear what I'm saying? I left all of it and I started all the way over.
That's right.
And what I
That's
can tell you is, the last time I looked at my pants, I'm not hungry. And last time I looked at my passport, I don't have any issues, with my stamp. I have stamps on my passport, you
so
know.
listen, we all go through things that make us stronger. And from what I can see, based on what you've told me and what I've learned about you, what you endured made you who you are today.
And it made
You
me
are
stronger. It
you
made
are
me stronger.
a tough cookie. And I can only imagine. I attribute a lot of it to obviously what God instilled inside of you, but also to your experiences. One of the things I say on here a lot of times is that oftentimes people say experience is the best teacher. The experience is a great teacher, but I believe that the wisdom that we gain through our experiences, the wisdom
It's
is the
let me
best
tell you,
teacher.
the wisdom was the best teacher I could have.
Right.
I'm going to say two more things because, um, as I started off, we are filming something, and I have to jump back on set in about 10 minutes, and
No, that's fine. We're
I want
almost wrapping up
to
anyway.
and I want to freshen up before I can. But what I want to say to anyone who rewatches, anybody who's watching that, anybody who rewatches this, listen. My life is an open book. My page is an open book. If you're going through something and you just need someone to talk to, DM me. I, I'll talk to anybody. I'll do what
Yes.
I can do to help you through. Now I'm broke because I have a grandchild now who gets all my money, but I help you through. I help you through. But seriously, if you like, because sometimes we just need somebody to talk to. We just need somebody to text.
We
We just
need,
need to be able to. I mean, think about it, Terry. There'll be days when something bothers me, and I'll hit you and be like, "Big cuz, boom,
yes.
boom, 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 boom."
Yeah.
Just because sometimes we need that other perspective.
That's what this is all about. This is about other perspectives. This is about women. We're in a safe environment to talk to each other and tell each other, what I went through. And I've had women throughout these last 7 episodes who tell me, you know what, I went through that too. I'm just not ready to talk about it. But what I heard this lady go through, it really helped me understand that I need to talk about it. So what this is doing for people, it is giving them the courage to talk about what they went through, that because they can relate. What we're doing now as these stories every week, we're being relatable to other women because we've all gone through something, you know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
I want to say that I am grateful for women like you. I'm grateful from a personal perspective that you and I have entered each other's lives, because we're not just about trauma to triumph. Just so you all know, Cass and I have developed another type of bond where she's like my cousin now. And I just want to say that your bravery and your courage is admirable, right?
Thank you
And
so much.
you were able to thrive in your career. You've been able to soar. You are a big deal. I want you to always know that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. Do not ever think less of that. We give each other pep talks. So
Yeah.
you're the bomb.com, okay? And for those of you again who tuned in late, you're talking to Dr. Kaz and Terry Long. This is Trauma to Triumph Tuesdays. Dr. Kaz, give them your Instagram information in case anybody wants to reach out to you directly. Some women are not bold enough to come on here and say anything, but
Right.
they may want to talk to you outside of this platform.
So for anybody who wants to follow me, you can follow me at CaSay Vaughn, CaSay Vaughn on Instagram and Twitter. And or if you want to follow me on Facebook, it is my government, Cassandra Vaughn. Which is Cassandra one as Casandra. Vaughn, if you can't find me on either platform, hit Terry up, hit the
That's
Trauma to
right.
Triumph page up. She will definitely connect us together. Terry, again, thank you so much. I love you for providing this opportunity. I am happy that I was able to get through this opportunity
Yes.
without breaking down, right?
Yes, me too. Me
And
too.
and um just for anybody, and I promise you this really is the last thing I'm gonna say, for anybody out there that's really going through something, I'm gonna tell you something. Listen, unpack that shit.
Yep.
Do you hear me? Unpack that shit, because you will never be whole until you unpack that shit. And you're not crazy because you want to go to a therapist. You are not psychotic. You don't suffer from psychosis. You are protecting your mental health. And I hate to say it, we do not like to do that. Yo, when I say to you, unpack it, unpack it. I don't care if a person can't listen to you unpack, then you're around the wrong people.
Yeah, that part. I
That part.
so agree. You got to unpack that shit. That's right.
Yeah.
Unpack it, y'all.
Because
I'm
I'm gonna
still
tell you,
unpacking.
I will tell you, and I really am. I promise you. I know I've said this like 3 times. So I'm gonna say this, and I really am gonna go. I had a friend that went through the same thing that I went through. Her outcome didn't become what my outcome was, you know.
Mm.
And every September, I go and visit her in the cemetery because her outcome wasn't mine, because she
Mm.
didn't unpack it. except for he didn't do anything to her. She did it to herself.
I hate hearing that. She didn't unpack it.
She didn't unpack
She
it.
allowed it to
But I'm going to tell
unpack
y'all
her and
something.
take her out.
I don't care what trip you go on. You can't leave them dirty ass drawers that you had on that trip in your suitcase because they begin to stink. Same thing with your life. Unpack it before it
Unpack it.
stinks.
So that's what we're going to walk away with, you all. Unpack your shit, okay?
Unpack it.
Because it is a release. And
It
the
is.
work that God can do in your life once you are trust him, unpack it and trust him to help you and ask him to order your steps. And let me tell you something, when you get to that side, life is way
It's,
different.
it is.
Took
I
me a
love you.
long time. Took me a long time to get that. But I'm very, very thankful and grateful that I have it now. And it's something that I will never let go. My relationship with the Lord is the only way that I am able to grow now as a woman and understand who I am.
Yeah.
So I
So I
want to
love
say,
you. I
I
love
love
all of
you.
you guys that's on here. If anybody needs to reach me, hit me on Instagram, Facebook. If you can't get me, go to Terry. Go to Terry
I
Long. Go to
got you.
Spotlight Over the City. Go to Trauma to Try
That's right.
Unconditional AP. I love you, Terry. One of the best publicists right in your area. I love her. You know, everybody that's on here, everybody that had something positive to say. If you don't take anything else, I'm going to say this, and I promise you, I'm about to hit the X. I'm going to drop the mic. Hashtag, you know what, from now on, hashtag unpack it.
Hashtag
Right.
unpack that shit.
Unpack that shit.
I love it. Real
Love
quick,
you.
you all, if you all want to tell your story of how you turned your trauma into triumph, please go to my website right now, www.trauma, the number two, triumph, DOC.com, www.trauma, the number two, triumph.doc.com, and submit your story to me, and let's make this a movement. We are going to heal and change the lives in a positive way of millions of women. I'm claiming it. So listen, you can also email me your story, and the email address is info@trauma, the number two, triumph.com. So again, the email is info@trauma2triumph.doc.com. And I'm also on Instagram. Any way that you can get me your story, please do it. We are doing this every Tuesday. We have some amazing women coming up. I cannot wait for you all to meet them. And I can't wait to meet more of you. Let's do this, you all. We're going to have women's conferences. We're going to have brunches. We're going to have so many amazing things. We're going to take this T2T project globally. And I'm so grateful to have all of you with me and all of you supporting me. And if you believe in this, again, and you know of a woman whose story would fit this project, please send them my way. www.trauma, the number two, triumph.doc.com. Thank you all so much. This will be posted up on the Trauma to Triumph YouTube page very shortly tonight. And hey, Unconditional AP, I'm going to make sure I'm following you. And yes, Dr. Cass has been a blessing. Thank you, Carla, for tuning in every week. You have been loyal to this project and this movement. Hello, Kim Flemings. Oh, that's you. I'm recommending someone. Hello, honey. He is my biggest supporter. And I'm just so excited about this project, you all. I'm so excited. There's so many things that we're planning to do that I can't wait to tell you about. Some of the things I can't say yet because it's in the works. But again, send your stories, please. They are powerful and they are really changing lives. Every single Tuesday, I have gotten a woman that I don't know, a strange woman, reach out to me to tell me how this Instagram Live changed her life, touched her life, made her cry. Something has happened every week. Let's keep it going. I love you all. I'll see you all next Tuesday for another episode of Trauma to Triumph and with another amazing, brave woman. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week.